Most warnings are meant to protect us from accident or carelessness. But in the quiet town of Thirsk, England, there is a warning that defies logic. Inside a local museum hangs a single, unassuming object, a centuries-old wooden chair. It isn't a historical oddity. It's an act of containment. Because for 300 years, this chair didn't just cause accidents, it caused immediate, unexplained death. This is the Busby Stoop Chair, infamously known as the dead man's chair. The curse claims anyone who dares to rest their body on its worn seat will never sit again. From a 19th century roofer to a 1940s RAF pilot who crashed just hours after sitting in it. The tally of alleged victims is chillingly high, over 60 souls. The pattern became so undeniable that the museum decided the only way to save lives was to ensure no human could ever sit in it again. So they hung it, defying gravity to deny a 300-year-old promise of doom. Is there truly dark energy bound to this wood? Or is it a fatal case of mass hysteria? We're peeling back the layers of a crime that refused to stay in the past. Prepare to step into the mystery of the dead man's chair. Find the source of the darkness, we travel back to 1702 to a roadside inn near Kirby Whiskey, North Yorkshire. It was owned by Thomas Busby, a man with a reputation as a volatile drunkard and a petty criminal. Busby was in business with his father-in-law, Daniel Audie. Their trade, a dangerous coin counterfeiting ring, but the partnership was built on sand. Audie was the architect of the crime, but Busby held the temper. One night, Busby returned to find Audie sitting in his favorite chair, threatening to take his daughter and leave. That night, in a fit of territorial rage, Busby ended Audie's life, a crime that changed the inn forever. Arrested and sentenced, Busby was granted one final request, a drink at his inn before the gallows. As he was led from the table for the last time, he looked at his chair and uttered a bone-chilling vow. May sudden death come to anyone who shall dare to sit in my chair after I am gone. Busby was hanged in a gibbet, a metal cage, at the crossroads, facing the inn he never wanted to leave. For years, his remains watched the door, and for years, the chair inside waited for its next guest. For decades, the chair was treated as a grim joke by patrons, a test of liquid courage for the brave. But as the 20th century arrived, the joke began to leave a trail of bodies that skeptics couldn't ignore. It started with two airmen who didn't believe in ghosts, and ended with a museum forced to chain it to the ceiling. By the 20th century, the Busby Stoop Inn was a landmark, but the chair had become a deadly dare. In 1944, two RAF pilots challenged the legend. They took turns sitting in the oak seat, mocking the ghost. Hours later, their aircraft developed a catastrophic fault. Neither survived the flight back to base. Owner Tony Earnshaw noticed a horrifying trend. The accidents happened on perfectly straight, safe roads. A group of builders stopped for lunch. One young man, unaware of the history, took the cursed seat. That afternoon, he fell from a reef. The sudden death Busby promised had claimed another soul. Then, a delivery man. He sat for just 5 minutes while waiting for his order. He never made his next drop-off. His van veered off a clear road for no apparent reason. By 1978, Earnshaw had seen enough. He didn't just want the chair moved, he wanted it exiled. He begged the Thirsk Museum to take it, under one condition. No one must ever sit in it again. But as curators studied the wood, they found an inconsistency. The chair wasn't from 1702. It was built in 1840. If the chair was a fake, why was the body count so undeniably real? In 1978, the Thirsk Museum accepted the donation. They didn't treat it like furniture. They treated it like a weapon. The curators faced a dilemma. How do you display a killer? The solution was a gravity lockdown. They decided to remove the floor from the equation entirely. Using reinforced steel chains, they hoisted the oak chair, dangling it 5 feet into the air over a void. It was a psychological barrier as much as a physical one. If no feet could reach the floor, no one could sit. For over 40 years, it has hung there in a state of do not touch. The thick layer of dust on the wood isn't neglect, it's a ceasefire. Even the curators refuse to clean the surface. Visitors report a cold sensation when standing beneath it, as if the air itself is weighted with a dark presence. But the 1840 discovery still haunts the archives. If this isn't Busby's original chair, what is it? Perhaps the curse didn't start with the wood. It started with the intent of a dying man's last words. Skeptics point to the 1840 manufacture date as proof that the Busby curse is nothing more than a profitable urban legend. They argue that mass hysteria turned coincidental accidents into a supernatural pattern. But if the chair is a 19th century reproduction, it raises a chilling possibility. Did the curse jump from the original wood to the object that took its place? Or is it the location that is hungry? The inn sits on an ancient crossroads, historically believed to be thin places where the veil is weak. Whatever the truth, the Thirsk Museum is taking no chances. The chair remains in its chains. It is a silent wooden sentinel that hasn't claimed a life in 40 years, because no one is allowed to try. The interactive pivot. Was it the spirit of a murderer or the power of a collective belief that killed those men? Tell me your theory in the comments. And if that chair were lowered to the floor today, would you sit in it?